The lake was a mirror at dusk, reflecting the ember glow of a dying sun. It was known simply as Stillwater, though locals whispered darker names for it, the Grasping Depths or the Boys' Grave. Few dared to visit after twilight, but its eerie beauty sometimes lured the unwary. Those who lingered too long near its shore never returned. Years ago, the lake had been the scene of an unspeakable tragedy. A young boy no older than 12 had been tormented by a group of local bullies during a humid summer evening. They pushed him into the water, laughing as he struggled to swim. What had started as a cruel game turned deadly when his small, gasping form vanished beneath the surface. Panic set in among the boys and they fled, leaving the lake to claim its victim. The boy's body wasn't found for days, bloated and unrecognizable. By then, the rumors had already begun. The lake had changed. At first, it was subtle. Fishermen noticed ripples on windless mornings, strange currents pulling their lines deeper than the lake should allow. Children claimed to see fleeting shadows beneath the surface, too large for any known fish. Soon, disappearances began. A man fishing alone at dawn, a couple venturing for a moonlit swim. Their belongings were found on the shore, but their bodies were never recovered. The townsfolk spoke of the boy's spirit bound to the lake, seeking revenge on anyone foolish enough to approach. The boy did not know peace in death. Consumed by anger and confusion, he roamed the lake bed, his once small frame grotesquely swollen and waterlogged, his eyes empty pits leaking dark streams. To him, every face that leaned too close to the water's edge belonged to his tormentors. He could not discern innocence from guilt, only the ceaseless need to drag them down, to make them feel the cold suffocation he endured. On a quiet autumn evening, a hiker named Elise approached the lake. She had heard the warnings, of course, but dismissed them as local superstition. The water gleamed under the harvest moon, so inviting, so serene. She stepped closer, entranced by the lake's stillness, unaware of the dark shape rising from the depths just beneath the surface. Elise's breath caught as the air grew unnaturally cold. A faint ripple spread across the glassy water. She crouched to inspect it, peering into the liquid blackness. Her reflection wavered, and for a fleeting moment she saw another face superimposed on her own, a bloated visage with empty, weeping sockets. Before she could scream, a hand, pale, slimy and impossibly strong, burst from the water and latched onto her wrist. She struggled, but the hand's grip was unyielding. It pulled her toward the lake, her boots sliding helplessly across the damp shore. Another hand emerged, then a head, its flesh mottled and decayed. The boy's gaping mouth opened in a soundless scream, water spilling from his throat as he yanked her into the depths. Elise's world became a maelstrom of icy water and flailing limbs. She clawed at the boy's face, her nails raking through the gelatinous flesh. But it only tightened its hold. Her screams bubbled into silence as the lake consumed her, her final vision the boy's lifeless, accusing eyes staring into her own. The next morning the lake was calm again. Elise's backpack and shoes were found near the shore, neatly arranged as though she had stepped out of them voluntarily. The townsfolk sighed with weary resignation. Another victim claimed by Stillwater. Over the years, the boy's methods grew more cunning. He learned to mimic voices, calling out from the shadows in desperate tones that begged for help. He left trails of footprints leading to the water's edge, luring those who followed. The lake became a trap, its surface concealing a labyrinth of twisting roots and skeletal remains. One winter, a group of college students dared each other to spend the night at Stillwater's edge. They laughed and drank, their firelight flickering on the water. As midnight approached, the laughter turned to unease. Shadows seemed to ripple along the surface, and the wind carried faint, mournful cries. One by one, the group disappeared. Some were dragged screaming into the lake, while others wandered too close to the water's edge and vanished silently. By dawn, the campsite was deserted, save for the damp impressions of bare feet leading back into the water. To this day, the boy waits, his anger unquenched. The lake grows darker with each life it claims, the surface reflecting not the heavens but the inky abyss below. Some say you can still hear the boy's wet, shuddering breaths if you stand too close at night. Others insist they've seen small handprints appear on the windows of cars parked near the shore, as though begging to be let in. Stillwater's curse remains unbroken. The boy is trapped, forever drowning, forever pulling others into his watery hell. He cannot distinguish friend from foe, only that no one escapes his grasp.